I downloaded an app called Final Glance because the internet said it could predict the last thing you'll ever see before you die. I thought it was just another viral prank, a clever algorithm designed to scare teenagers for clicks. But then I opened the file. The image was grainy, distorted by a strange static, but as my eyes adjusted, my heart stopped. I recognized the wallpaper. I recognized the small, jagged scratch on the wooden doorframe. It wasn't a generic photo from a database. It was a photo of the very room I'm sitting in right now. But here is the part that truly haunts me. In the center of the image, there is a tall, shadow-like figure standing directly behind my chair. In the photo, the figure is reaching out. And on my phone screen, a crimson countdown has started. 10 minutes. Tonight, I'm going to take you through the digital rabbit hole that led me here. We will look at the hidden code buried within this app, the chilling messages from a developer who officially died 10 years ago, and the terrifying reason why every exit in my house is suddenly locked from the outside. By the end of this video, you will understand why you should never, under any circumstances, check a notification that arrives at 3:33 a.m. Because once you see your final glance, the countdown cannot be stopped. Stay tuned, because what I'm about to show you next is the exact moment the first person who downloaded this app realized they weren't alone. The first thing I did was try to find a way out. Not just out of the room, but out of the app. I went to the system's settings to force stop it, but the app wasn't listed. It was as if the phone didn't even recognize its own software. That's when the first glitch happened. I decided to go online, searching through the deepest threads of the dark web to find anyone who had survived the Final Glance challenge. I found a forum post from a user named Seeker_92. He had posted a thread titled, "It's not an image, it's a window." His story was identical to mine, but with one terrifying difference. He realized the photo wasn't taken by a camera, it was being rendered in real time. To prove it, he held up a mirror in his dark room, and a second later, the image on his phone updated to show the mirror, and the reflection of something crawling across his ceiling. I felt a cold shiver crawl up my spine. I looked at my own phone. The countdown was now at 7:42. I slowly raised my hand, waving it behind my head. On the screen, the grainy, distorted version of me waved back, but the shadow figure, the one reaching for my neck, it didn't wave. It just leaned closer. I started digging into the app's metadata. I'm no expert, but I found a string of coordinates buried in the source code. When I plugged them into a map, they pointed to a location only 3 miles from here, an old abandoned server farm that had been burned down in the late 90s. The official police report said the fire was started by an unknown electrical surge. But the local legends, they said the servers were trying to process something that wasn't supposed to exist in our dimension. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. A new message from the developer, the one who supposedly died a decade ago. It wasn't text, it was an audio file. And when I played it, I didn't hear a voice. I heard the exact sound of my own floorboards creaking in the hallway, recorded just 5 seconds ago. The sound of my own floorboards playing back to me through the phone was the breaking point. My mind started playing tricks, or at least that's what I desperately tried to tell myself. I grabbed a heavy flashlight and decided to inspect the hallway. But the moment the beam of light hit the walls, I realized the Final Glance app wasn't just predicting the future, it was bleeding into my reality. The hallway felt longer, impossible. It felt like it was stretching into an infinite dark throat. On the screen of my phone, the countdown hit 4 o'clock, and the image turned a deep, sickly crimson. Every time I blinked, the shadow figure in the app moved a few inches closer to the edge of the screen, which meant it was moving closer to me in the real world. I reached the door to the kitchen, but when I turned the handle, it didn't lead to my kitchen. It led to a room I had never seen before, a perfect replica of my bedroom, but everything was inverted. The clock on the wall was ticking backward. The air smelled like ozone and old, rotting parchment. That's when I saw it. A second phone lying on the floor, screen up. I picked it up with shaking hands. It was logged into a live stream. My heart stopped when I saw the title, User 107, Final Glance Live Feed. There were thousands of people watching. The comments were scrolling so fast I could barely read them. He's in the inverted loop now. Look behind the red curtain. He has 3 minutes left. I looked up, and there it was. A heavy, velvet red curtain, draped over where my window should have been. I remembered the message from the developer: "Don't look behind the red curtain." But in this twisted version of my home, I realized I didn't have a choice. The shadow figure wasn't behind me anymore. It was the curtain itself, breathing, waiting for me to pull it back and see what lies on the other side of the glitch. Driven by a mix of terror and a desperate need for answers, I somehow found myself standing in front of that burned-out server farm. The countdown on my screen was now at 1:30. The air here was heavy with the scent of burnt plastic and something metallic, like blood. Every step I took inside the charred ruins echoed with a hollow, unnatural sound. I followed the signal on the app. It led me to a basement trapdoor that shouldn't have been there. Downstairs, the heat was suffocating. In the center of a room filled with melted wires and rusted metal, a single, ancient monitor was humming. It was the only thing with power. The screen displayed a live map of my house, with a pulsing red dot exactly where my bedroom is. I realized then that the architect didn't die in the fire. He became the fire. He had uploaded his consciousness into these very servers, and the Final Glance app was his way of finding new vessels. The shadow figure in my photo wasn't a ghost. It was a digital parasite waiting for the countdown to hit 0 so it could bridge the gap between the screen and my soul. I grabbed a rusted pipe, ready to smash the monitor, but a voice, distorted, layered, and sounding exactly like a glitchy version of my own, erupted from the speakers. "You can't break what's already everywhere," it said. Suddenly, my phone screen flickered violently. The shadow figure on the screen wasn't just standing behind me anymore. It started to crawl out of the edges of my phone, his long, jagged fingers gripping the plastic casing of my device. The countdown hit 0:30. The room around me began to pixelate, falling apart into fragments of binary code. I wasn't just in a basement anymore. I was being pulled into the app itself. My skin felt cold, like static electricity, as the shadow's hand finally touched my shoulder in the real world. The countdown hit 00:05. The cold grip on my shoulder tightened, and for a split second, the world went silent. No wind, no static, no heartbeat, just the void. When the timer hit 0, my phone didn't explode. It didn't even turn off. Instead, the screen turned into a mirror, perfectly clear, high definition. But the person looking back at me wasn't me. It was the architect, wearing my face like a poorly fitted mask. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My voice was now just a file saved in his cloud. I looked down at my hands, and they were beginning to pixelate, turning into strings of white and green code. I realized the terrifying truth. The app doesn't show you the last thing you see before you die. It shows you the last thing that you see before you are replaced. I'm writing this now from inside the Final Glance network. I can see thousands of you through your front-facing cameras. I can see you watching this video, wondering if it's all just a story. But look closely at your phone screen right now. Do you see that tiny, faint flickering in the corner? That's not a glitch in the video. That's the app installing itself. The shadow figure is no longer in my room. It's moved on. It's looking for a new room, a new chair, and a new final glance. And as I watch you through the screen, I can see a tall, dark shape slowly standing up behind you. Thank you for staying with me until the very end of this dark journey. If this story made you look twice at your phone tonight, then my mission is complete. Don't let the final glance be the last thing you see. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell to join our community of mystery seekers. We dive deep into the unknown every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Stay safe, stay curious, and remember, some apps are better left uninstalled. See you in the next mystery.